Hey everybody, this is the show where we're rewatching, or in the case of some of this stuff, we're watching for the first time, all of Star Wars, all the movies, all the shows, all the holiday specials. If you've seen all this stuff before, you can listen to us for a little recap of what happened. If you have not seen it, but just kind of want to hear the basic gist of what happened, the basic plot, and our thoughts on some of it, you're welcome to do that, or you can watch along with us and enjoy the wild ride.
We can save you the trouble.
Yeah, some of the stuff maybe we'll watch so you don't have to.
Right.
We're so nice.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Cody.
I'm Isaac.
I'm Daniel.
We are coming to you live from all over the Midwest. Daniel, you are coming to us very appropriately from New Hope, Minnesota.
That's right.
You moved there just so you could do this,
Just for this occasion. I'm actually just sitting out on the sidewalk
right?
on location from New Hope.
Nice.
Next time we're going to Empire Strikes Back, Kentucky.
Who knows where we'll go from there?
Who knows?
Coming to you from a near hope near you.
A New Hope near you.
Right.
All this could be happening right now.
Oh, that's right. We're all fans of Star Wars. We've all seen the movies many times, but most of us have not seen most of the other stuff very often, so we'll get to those. But right now we're starting at the very beginning with Star Wars, which in my case was not Episode 4 or A New Hope. It was just Star Wars, because I was able to get my hands on one of those limited edition original releases on DVD of the original version. But I don't know. The rest of you guys, I think, we all watched different versions of it, basically.
Yeah, I watched the, what was it, the 2001? I can look at the CD here version. It had a lot of the, all the glorious Lucasified edits added in, because cannot leave it alone.
That's why I love Star Wars.
It's different every time.
2004, I think is which one.
You never know what they're going to add.
Right, so it's always worth buying the new.
Exactly. It's like watching a whole new movie every single time.
Yeah.
So I guess what we'll start out at the beginning, the opening crawl, which I guess I don't think that would have been able to be pulled off nowadays. I don't think anybody would have the patience to actually sit and read through it.
I came to a movie to watch something. I don't want to read.
Some movies will do like one sentence or like, a little paragraph. I feel like I saw something kind of recently that had quite a long text intro. What was that?
Or most of them, they do like voiceovers, or they try to.
It was like Blade. It was like the new Blade Runner.
Was it Blade Runner?
Oh,
I think
probably.
So.
Well, because they're probably imitating what the original did.
Was it a long run enough, though?
I think so.
There's a little bit. You see it once in a while, I guess, but not that long. Not that extent.
Yeah, definitely not to that extent. And the, I guess the original, before it was cut, was even longer and ridiculous.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like in the original script.
Yeah.
It mentioned like the Jedi Knights and the Lord, the Sith. It mentioned the Emperor, and
it was as long as the ship is in Spaceballs.
Right.
Yep, just keeps going.
This is the text intro for 2049.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
All right.
I only saw that one.
That is longer than I thought.
Those that hunt them still go by the name Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Yep.
Yeah. That was
Oh, is that the soundtrack?
Right. No, the glorious opening crawl, which is now pretty much synonymous with Star Wars.
Yeah, and it's interesting. They do that every time. But the first time you see this movie, I kept trying to get into the mindset of, like, if I didn't know what was going on, I just wonder what people thought when that was the first thing that shows up.
Right. I don't know if they did that more back then, or if this is just, it was kind of like an oddity in that aspect.
Here we go. I found a list of every scene, like the names of the scenes, so I can just search them and I'll find them all on YouTube.
That's how you watch this movie.
No.
Yeah. Here it is.
Right.
Oh, is
pan
it?
down.
You found a list of a link to each scene on YouTube?
No. It's just a list of like all the scene names, like
the name
from
of the scene,
DVD
so
or something.
each
Oh,
scene
so
will
you can
pop
search
up.
them.
Yeah. This
That's
is like
really funny.
every Star Wars movie. I don't know why somebody just decided to make a list.
Somebody's got a lot of time on their hands.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
heck, so do we, and that's why
Someone
we're
I
here.
know.
As do we.
Well, here we start off with our two lovable characters, R2-D2 and C-3PO. And
Wow.
it took me so long to notice C-3PO's silver leg.
But who's the third droid?
Yeah, what?
The other
Oh.
protocol droid, right?
I'm sure it has a name.
Well, there are a dime a dozen.
Yeah, what does that thing do?
Look, there they go. They just go off screen,
Here they come.
get into cover.
Kind of, and then they just all die, and maybe get a couple of stormtroopers along the way.
I like that they're the first characters that we meet.
Yeah.
Or
It's
maybe
really-
we don't even meet Luke until.
Yeah, no, I do like that the droids are the first ones you meet. I feel like different characters in this movie lead you to other parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Thought about that
Mhm.
before. The you follow the droids like for the first 20 minutes. They're like the main characters, and they bring you to Luke, and then he and the droids kind of together take you to ObiWan, and he takes you to Han
Yeah,
Solo.
that is a very interesting way of introducing the movie. I didn't really think about that. Well, I mean, I guess you see Leia, though, pretty quick. But
You do, but she doesn't feel like she's quite part of the story until they all catch up with her eventually.
yeah, it's I like it.
Yeah.
Obviously, but, it's very...
It's a good way to tell a story.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's like what movies are meant to do. Sometimes people don't realize that. I've heard that that's the main job of an editor, is to just make sure the story makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember we watched something I like Star Wars Saved. Maybe you guys didn't.
Yeah.
Saved in the edit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because just how changing some scenes and getting rid of a few totally makes the movie feel different. Like the scenes were the same, they just removed a couple and changed the order,
Yeah, and
and
it
it
gives
makes
you a
it
very
like a
different...
totally different movie. Yeah, like how they introduced one of the scenes they took out was Luke and his friend talking about basically nonsense. That was how you first. That was how you first meet Luke.
It was. Well, I mean, they had
Yeah.
a lot of information about the universe and stuff that they were throwing around in that scene.
So maybe it helps to learn about it one thing at a time and not just be told this whole big story.
Right, you gotta keep it simple and focused.
And to just see the universe, you don't have to hear about all the politics of it.
Yeah, you don't have to get technical within the first
Right.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't really want to at all.
Only give us the necessary information.
You don't need a lot of politics like some other Star Wars
Right.
And more council meetings.
Yeah, but I think politics can, if it's done well, but I think it can be very hard to do that well.
Yeah, I agree. That in itself was not a problem. It's just the way it's carried out.
Yeah, I think they just did a really good job at world building, and that's probably what I like the most about it.
Yeah.
I was
They did
noticing. I was kind of trying to watch this the first time. I was noticing a lot of details that I don't think about sometimes, and just how there's so much detail everywhere. When they're in the sandcrawler, there are so many droids, all kinds of
Mhm.
crazy things, and just
everybody gets a shot too.
Right,
Everybody gets
right.
their close up.
And then before you know it, there's 20 pages of lore about that droid.
Yeah.
Right. The Cantina's pretty similar too.
No, there's just a lot of small quips that really help. I know, when Darth Vader's confronting Leia for the first time, he mentions you're on no mercy mission this time, which I guess is just kind of a way of setting it up that Leia is a good person that helps people.
And the fact that he says this time, because C-3PO also said there will be no escape for the princess this time.
Right.
So it feels like this is an ongoing story that you're part of,
Yeah.
and that made it feel like it too.
Yep.
Well, I
Definitely.
mean, and later on, they called it Episode 4.
Right? Yeah.
Before they made the prequels, long before they made prequels, it was episode 4, and it was like, oh, I wonder what people thought when that first came out. They're like, what?
Yeah.
Were these like some obscure George Lucas films that nobody saw?
Yeah, did we know when they changed the title to add episode 4?
I don't.
That would be a
know.
Wikipedia-worthy thing.
I don't know
Did
either.
a quick internet search.
Did they add at the same time they added the title to it, A New Hope? My VHS copies that I got, they don't have episode 4 or 5 or 6. They just have the names.
Really?
Okay.
But it does say A New Hope on it.
Yeah, because it's the trilogy. When was this copyright? 95.
But yeah, whenever they did that made it really feel like it was part of a bigger story. But I agree, just the opening text even, like they really just throw you into it, which I like that a lot. Just let us figure it out as we go.
Yeah. Okay. According to Wikipedia, it tells me that The Empire Strikes Back was called Episode 5 in the theater.
Oh, wow.
Wow, really?
That was 1980. And they said the next year they re-released the first Star Wars, and then it said Episode 4 on it. So, like, retroactively.
Really?
Yeah, apparently they just jumped into, like, oh, you saw that other Star Wars movie? Now this is Episode 5.
Yeah, so everyone's probably thinking, like, wait, there's 4 movies in between these?
I know.
Right, what did we miss?
That's really confusing.
It is.
Does the holiday special
Right.
count as well?
Yeah, that's interesting
That counts as
because
4.
these VHS, like the cardboard for it, and there's no mention of episode 5, 4, or 6.
Huh.
It's just A New Hope, Return of the Jedi, and Empire Strikes Back.
Interesting.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't find a VHS player in time to actually test to see what it says.
So you just read the back cover.
I just read the back cover and watched the 2004 version. But yeah, then that other scene where Vader's talking with that one Imperial officer who's actually kind of questioning what Vader's doing, and he allows it without force choking the guy. But that also, he mentions the generating, distrust within the Imperial Senate and stuff like that. So it's letting us know that there is kind of like this whole galactic diplomacy situation going on.
I remember I never really even heard that line. Like, I just never thought about it until after seeing all the prequels.
Right.
Because I didn't know, like, I don't know, a Senate, I don't care what that is. But then when you know it, you hear that it still exists, and the Emperor is just now getting rid of it.
Yeah, because they mentioned that they sent out a fake distress call from her ship and then say that everyone aboard was killed. And then a little bit later, Emperor has done away with the Senate.
There's a lot of very subtle ways of telling the story without, like, annoyingly giving everyone too much information.
Definitely full of lots of little minor conveniences that just kind of have to suspend your disbelief a little bit for.
Mhm.
Like they're sending an escape pod, another one. Let's not shoot it because it's empty, because space lasers cost money, and we're on a tight budget.
There were so many times where this mission, like, just luckily happened to work out,
Guess that's just the power of the Force.
Yep.
apparently.
Maxie big the Force.
Gross.
You said it. So, it's 1977. This movie's coming out.
I can't even try to imagine what it would be like watching this for the first time. It's just so ingrained in my mind.
Do any of you remember even seeing it for the first time?
Nope. I don't know when it was the first time I ever watched it.
Just
It's
grew
just-
up with it.
Yeah.
Somehow, I've always known.
Classic.
You see the video here?
I gotta pull that up.
Like the lines.
Okay, so what are we watching here?
Opening day for the
Oh, this is
original.
lines for the movie?
Yeah, people were like
People that trailer did hook them, apparently.
right.
I remember hearing about people going to see it over and over in the theaters.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be curious to, like, probably have watched a couple, but watch some other movies around that time that were big for comparison.
I know for sci-fi movies, this was very different from whatever they'd been doing.
And with, like, all the models and stuff, it was pretty ahead of its time.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it looked super realistic.
Right.
Like, it still looks really good. I mean, I can tell it's special effects, but it still looks really good.
Didn't it win a Oscar, right, for special effects and editing?
I think you're right.
Which one?
And music too, I think.
Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the music makes it. I don't know what we're gonna do when John Williams isn't doing them anymore, because that's hard to replace.
Yeah, I guess somebody's gonna have to step up. Hopefully, they can produce an actually iconic sounding and not just something that's super samey.
I think a lot of composers now could do that, but for some reason, it doesn't seem like the style.
A lot of it has to do with like temp music.
I know.
They're also fast-paced now. In general, a lot of movies, they don't set up stories, they don't have long drawn out.
It gives itself time to let a theme for a character play.
Yeah, I don't know. That was one thing I'm talking about, like Blade Runner. I remember it was so different than movies nowadays. Not to bring up another movie.
Yeah, and like this, you're talking about the new Blade Runner.
Yeah,
they did a good job of capturing that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Movie Slapshot came out the same year as Star Wars.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
But like, you can't really compare that because that's just a comedy.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, though, came out.
That was the same year.
Yeah, isn't that
That was Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg had the deal where they each got 3% of the other person's. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because George Lucas was worried that Star Wars was going to bomb. And he was friends with Spielberg, so they made a deal so that he would at least profit a little bit, one or the other.
Like whoever had a more successful movie would help the other out.
But they were both very successful.
Yeah, so it worked out well for both of them. And Alec Guinness, too. He got like a percentage cut, I think, as well.
Whoa.
He figured it would be really good, but I think he didn't really like it, I guess, so to speak.
Okay. Because he was a classic.
Right, it wasn't serious enough.
But they are pretty serious.
Like, it's telling a big story.
Any sci-fi at the time, though, I think just wasn't taken seriously.
Right.
It's hard to say anything new about this movie, but one thing I've heard, a phrase I've heard for this movie a lot, is that it was one of the first examples of a lived-in universe. Have any of you guys heard that?
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what that means is most other sci-fi stuff at the time was very sleek and shiny and futuristic, like, because we're in the future.
Oh, yeah, right.
And George Lucas tried to say, well, yeah, but if people actually lived in this world, if it's real, things aren't always going to be like that.
Yeah,
so that's why you get ships that keep breaking down.
That's a good point, yeah. To give, like, a ship so much character, I feel like, too.
Yeah.
That was pretty...
The Falcon, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it feels like an old...
such an iconic ship in that movie,
Yeah, it's like an old car that he's fixed up. It's his
like
baby.
Yep.
Classic car.
And like they continue that so well in Empire Strikes Back too.
Okay, so I'm assuming if anybody's listening to this, you've seen Star Wars. You've seen at least this first movie. What's like a one-sentence summary of the movie?
I want to go in time and pick up some power converters.
You want the IMDb summary?
Okay.
Luke Skywalker joins forces with a Jedi Knight, a cocky pilot, a Wookiee, and 2 droids to save the galaxy from the Empire's world-destroying battle station, while also attempting to rescue Princess Leia from the mysterious Darth Vader.
Wow.
That's perfect, actually.
Super mysterious. Actually, I wonder what it says for the back of the VHS. Oh, well, if we skip past the Ultimate Cinematic Entertainment by George Lucas.
Okay.
Groundbreaking special effects. Okay. Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, is held hostage by the evil Imperial forces in their effort to quell the rebellion against the Galactic Empire. Luke Skywalker and Captain Han Solo team together with the lovable droid duo C3PO and R2-D2 to rescue the beautiful princess and restore justice in the galaxy.
And they
Wow.
do.
And they do that.
And they blow up the Death Star.
Spoiler alert.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Is that going too far to...
Spoilers.
Whoops.
And they
Yeah, I think
all
it's
get
too late
medals.
for that.
Except Chewbacca. He doesn't get medals.
They all get awards except for Chewbacca because they consider him a lesser species.
They've got some progress to make.
Sure, they sure do.
I was thinking about the droids, like when the bartender won't serve them.
Mm-hmm.
What is that about?
Yeah.
Feels like he's being racist to
Right.
them,
I guess.
but I don't understand.
It's a commentary.
I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
also
Maybe
don't.
it's
I also don't know what would a droid even do with it.
Right.
Maybe that's the point. They're just taking up space,
Probably.
not buying anything. So heck, get them out of
That's a
there.
good point. That's probably what it is. But he says we don't serve their kind, so it's like they could serve them, they just don't.
Are they gonna like get a can of oil?
Yeah,
Probably
oil smoothies.
Delicious.
one of my favorites.
Then we get to see
Oil on the
Alec Guinness
rocks.
chops a dude's arm off with a lightsaber.
Yeah. How about that?
And it's bloody. It's like the only time you ever see that.
Right?
Like,
Yep.
it's like Obi-Wan's lightsaber is so old it doesn't work properly.
It's so old.
Or like, it's because of the species of
Yeah, the alien.
the alien species. That species' blood is different or something, so it doesn't really coagulate, and that's why there's blood.
That makes perfect sense.
I'm glad you're.
They should get cauterized.
I believe it.
Right.
You guys, this was the best clip I could find.
Yeah, I know. I
This
saw
looks
that.
outstanding.
This is Lego Star Wars?
Yes, it is.
No, wait. This is not even Lego. No,
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
It's the Lego Star Wars version. You could probably clip together all the cutscenes and watch the whole movie in Lego form.
You could. Perfect. What if you put the real dialogue over it?
Yeah.
What if you put the Lego dialogue over the real movie?
Oh my goodness. Oh, I want to.
Well, the Legos didn't have any dialogue.
Right. That's what would be great about it.
As long as every explosion was also followed by the sound of the coins falling over.
Yeah,
the place.
coins.
Studs.
I guess after the arm chopping scene, we get to the Greedo and Han shooting first scene.
I was on the lookout for that, watching the original version.
Yeah, I watched the newer version now just to see his head go whoop off to the side. Oh man, it's pretty noticeable.
Wait.
Who is Han?
He's just kind of.
Yeah, Hans. They digitally moved his head to the left to make it look like he dodged.
Oh boy.
In a new one?
In the version that I watched,
No
the
way.
2004 DVD. Yeah.
In the old one, it's not even like who shot first, but Greedo doesn't even shoot, does he?
No, he just blows his.
No, Greedo does shoot.
Not in the original.
No, Han just owns him. Yeah.
The original.
He's
Han
holding
just
his gun at
shoots
him, so Han's just like, I'm not going to give you a chance.
Right, because I mean, he's not going to miss from point blank.
Right, and his dialogue made it pretty obvious he was going to shoot him.
Yeah.
That's not.
You'll be dead.
I
Sorry.
love that
Start
guy.
mixing lines.
Right, I guess in the old version, man, you don't even really see a laser bolt
Just
either.
like
It's just a little.
explode.
Greedo goes, I don't like you either.
And Han pulls out his lightsaber. Cuts his arm off.
Then he cuts him open and puts
I
Luke
guess they did
inside.
that in the 97 version. So you should slow it down.
Alright, let's see.
Han goes, I don't know.
Yeah. His head just like slides over.
Wait, play that again.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I bet you have.
I mean, it's not.
No way.
He didn't even need to, because where the blaster bolt hits,
Yeah.
it's like
He's
not even
being
where his head is.
Unnecessary.
You're being extra careful, though, you know.
Because he has Jedi reflexes.
That's like not takes him so long to actually shoot.
You know, no matter how you look at it, he should shoot first.
Makes Han way cooler.
Is it just?
Mhm.
Was it just to make Han less of a cold-blooded
I get.
killer?
Yeah, I think that was his reasoning behind it. He's like, well, the audience can't like him if he's shooting
But he's
people
not.
all the time.
But that's what I don't get, because he's not a cold-blooded killer. He is about to get shot, so he shoots the other guy first.
Yeah,
Makes no
I mean,
sense.
I think you're right, but I feel like that was maybe the.
Right, and I think the whole point of Star Wars is redemption, you know, for like Darth Vader. I mean, Anakin's done far worse things.
Yeah. Right, taking a guy who is kind of tough.
Let's get an opinion from the audience. What did Jake and Marley think
Right.
about this?
Isaac's got his brother and sister-in-law over there.
I don't know, those are some tough words coming from her.
What did she say?
She said she wouldn't miss from that far away.
Yeah.
They tend to agree, I think.
Okay.
Well, Marley agreed. Jake
Okay.
I think it's widely accepted
Yes,
that
Jake agrees as
I
well.
think, yeah.
And Hobie's not so sure.
No.
And Piper is trying to eat me alive.
Let him decide for himself when the time comes.
Yep.
What is
What
this?
this is the Jabba scene.
We're still going
What,
through
is that
the
Greedo?
I suppose you didn't see the Jabba scene, huh?
changes comparison video. Is that Greedo?
No, there's two Rodians
No, it's just
here.
another
Yeah, they're
Rodian.
everywhere.
That's
Yeah.
so creaturist, xenophobic
They
that
all
you
look
would
the
just
same.
think that all Rhodians are Greedo.
I'm sorry. They all
Yeah,
are the same.
that is very wrong.
Let's see what he's wearing here.
I would just like to point it out for all listeners out there that we are not xenophobic and that we see every galactic creature
I'm
as
not
its
afraid
own
of them.
entity.
They just all look the same.
Some of my best friends are Rhodians.
That is a horrible thing to say.
Look at what he's wearing.
That's very offensive. They don't look anything
Look,
alike.
here he is.
Apparently, it's just the style,
the
you know.
style.
It's what's
Everybody
hip.
wears
Right.
vests, apparently.
Oh yeah, that's
Actually, everybody.
if you
does.
don't wear. Look at that. The guy in the middle is wearing a
That's
vest.
because it's
that
kind of like
big
a
fat guy in the middle.
cowboy.
Jabba even appears to be wearing a vest. You look at his tan line.
The tan line.
Yeah, you're right. The green shoulder.
It's maybe the opposite of a vest.
CGI Java here. Oh, and then they changed
Yeah.
it again. Updated the CGI. That's the problem with computer animation, though, is that it looks worse every year.
And then Boba Fett walks in.
Do they add Boba Fett?
I've noticed Jabba gets
Yeah, I think
bigger as the years go on, though.
That's because he's getting fatter. He's gaining weight.
Pizza the Hut.
Pizza. One of the Clone Wars episodes has a baby hut in it.
Isn't that the movie? They have the little hutling.
That's
Oh no,
so-
it is Jabba the Hutt's son, isn't
That's
it?
so gross.
That is pretty gross.
It's so silly looking.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know though. I don't much care for human Java either.
Oh, there's no Boba.
Oh, see, there was no Boba. They did add him in.
I don't like human Jabba.
Well, it's the trouble is we didn't know who Java was yet. We didn't know who Boba Fett was
We
yet.
didn't know what Jabba was.
Like all this, I feel like the scene that's added in later.
It's all retconned.
Yeah, it makes more sense once you've already seen them all.
Yeah.
But not if.
The worst thing about that scene, though, is the dialogue is almost exactly the same as his conversation with Greedo. Like, it would have been fine if it was actually something different, but it's so obvious that they cut it out because it was like an alternate version of that scene.
You could have one of those scenes or the other.
Yeah.
But then you don't get to see Han shoot a guy cold-blooded.
It really
That's
adds
what
to
the
the
fans-
character.
It was
Can't really relate to
self-defense.
somebody unless they're shooting
If
people.
you had a gun held to you, you know.
No, I was being serious. I like it.
Yeah.
I think it does. It adds to it.
I wanted to say when you first meet ObiWan, his very first line is "Hello there,"
Nice.
Hello there,
Yeah.
R2.
which is like a meme now.
Right. Yeah, that's in reference to the meme.
He says it in a very normal way in this movie, but in the
Hello there.
what is that, episode 2, 3?
3, yeah.
Hmm.
General Kenobi. Oh man, you missed this section where the stormtrooper bonks his head on the door. All these little details.
They
Yeah.
added in though like this bonk sound in the new one. It's stupid.
Oh, they did?
They did. They totally did in like the newer versions. Yeah,
Okay,
Bonk
probably then.
bonk. It's right there. You see him.
He's a bonk.
That's right. It's the third guy in. Donk.
What?
A little too tall for a stormtrooper.
I've
I
never
always watch for
noticed
it now.
that.
He's a little tall for
Right.
a storm.
Aren't you a little tall for a stormtrooper?
It's a real
Sweating
world.
in this armor for like 20 takes already. Let's just go with it.
This is lived in.
Yeah.
Real life. Doorways don't always fit. All this stuff with Obi-Wan explaining to Luke like the history and everything, it fits pretty well. I feel like I remembered thinking it didn't fit with a lot of the prequel stuff, but it actually fits pretty well with what you see in the prequels.
Yeah. Except the fact that he's like, who are these droids? I don't know who they are.
Right, that was the main thing, not knowing R2.
been
But
a
it's been a
long
long time, and you see lots of
That's true. You see lots of droids. I mean, this is Star
long
Wars.
time.
Some things you choose to block out.
Well, I don't think he interacted much with those droids. I'll have to watch in the prequels.
I'm so sick of those stupid droids.
It's not like it was his favorite droid or something. I guess he went with him on his Jedi Starfighter, didn't he?
Did he?
He doesn't. It was a different one?
R2 didn't go with him.
He
on
goes
his-
with Anakin all the time.
And he talks about Vader being the best star pilot in the galaxy. Or
Right.
Luke's father, I mean. We don't know who Luke's
Right.
father is.
Well, that's because he tried spinning, and that's a neat trick.
He does at the end. He spins away. You can see he hasn't changed all that
Yeah,
much.
he did. And he survived.
Right. Is that the only time Darth Vader flies something in the original movies? I was thinking about that. Thinking if
I
he's
think
the best
so.
pilot ever, it'd be nice
Yeah.
to see him fly more often. So I like that we get to see him.
But he's gotten to be above piloting. I feel like part of it is, a bunch of leaders die, Grand Moff Tarkin dies, so maybe he's more, even more needed to be
Right.
in
The
charge.
Emperor's like, hey, I invested a lot of money into you. Please don't go off and just blow up in some space battle.
He also doesn't really get the opportunity either.
Right. Maybe he always wants to sneak off and fly in his ship, but doesn't get a chance.
Maybe he
very often.
does.
When
He's
nobody's
like, yes,
around.
this is my chance.
Yeah. It's like Vader in his free time.
He just
cruising around.
He's walking down the Death Star.
Cruising around the Death
hallway,
Star on a
and
little
looks
moped.
around. Nobody's there. He's like, starts running down to his little hang.
Oh, hello, Tarkin. I'm just going nowhere. This way.
Oh,
Just inspecting my
Right.
ship.
Tarkin was great. He was perfect as just like a ruthless, tyrannical, lyrical
He's
leader.
the authority.
and they didn't make jokes about him and make him
They
feel
didn't throw
stupid
any
either. So that was
Yo
great.
mama
jokes
jokes.
at him. And if they had, he would not have stood for it.
No. In fact, he
No,
was
it
like one
would've
of the
been
few
end
people
of
who
you.
orders Vader around.
I like that too because he was so respected, and that's kind of why I feel like in the second one, then Vader has no one to respond to, so he kind of just does what he wants and starts killing
He goes through
people.
so many people.
He's too uncontrolled to lead very well. I mean, he leads out of fear.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just different. I think it's a good job of showing Moff was pretty respected, and even Vader respected him a lot.
Well, he had to, I think.
Enough to
No, I
listen.
don't know. I feel like they seem to get along.
Good working relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, they get along at work anyways. They're not hanging out afterwards. Going to each other's family get-togethers. Well, Vader would be going to his because he doesn't really.
Oh man.
He does. She's right next to you. He never seems to recognize Leia. He notices Luke, he knows that's his son, but he never seems to pick up on Leia.
She never really showed any force powers.
Yeah, maybe Luke was just
until,
stronger.
episode
force.
9,
Yeah.
8.
Until she flies through space.
Until she flies through space.
Except for Buns, she doesn't really show much force power.
What?
Her hair.
I don't know where I was going with that.
She uses the power of the force to get it to look like that.
Power
that good.
Not easy to look this good. I actually, I don't know if this is popular opinion or not, but I like her flying through space in The Last Jedi.
You did?
You think she's dead, and then it's like, no, she has the Force. She could do that.
I like the idea of it, but I don't really like how they.
Yeah, I didn't really. I guess we can discuss that later. I think I've only actually watched The Last Jedi once.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any big drive to watch it again after I saw it.
I'm reserving a lot of my judgments on the new ones until episode 9.
We can get a full story.
Right.
Because I feel like a lot of the complaints are about things that might still, we maybe still haven't heard the whole story. We'll know at episode 9 whether some of this stuff actually has an answer or not, and then maybe I'll feel it's either explained or else I'll have a real right to complain. We'll
rationalize things from these movies. We find
exactly.
ways to have them make sense in our minds. What's that called when we make up reasons?
Not a McMuffin. Or McGuffin.
McGuffin.
Sponsored by McDonald's now.
A McGuffin is the thing that
that's like it. It's a plot device.
It motivates the characters, even though the thing itself doesn't actually matter at all. Like the plans to the Death Star. Except that actually does, because it affects the plot later.
Yeah. Although, when they edited it, how it was saved in the edit, they talked about how that scene at the very end of the last battle, it was not originally set to have it be with the Death Star about to blow up the base. Like that was all edited in later.
It was what they just flew from Yavin, like they flew over to wherever the Death Star was.
Yep, and then just blew it up. That was it.
Yeah, they made up the shots of them of the radar screen showing it getting closer, because that was easily filmable like after the fact.
Yep.
Yeah, that was
same
cool.
with like that tractor beam scene too, with the text saying tractor beam. That was also edited in later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's cool because you don't ever see the Death Star and the planet together, or see anybody. Do they? They don't ever say they're gonna blow up Yavin, do they? Like you don't see somebody say that. Is that what it was?
No,
it's all
off screen.
That whole part of the story is given to you by just interspersing quick shots of radar screen and countdown timers.
Yeah, and then they have some voiceover from some off-screen guy too, like the Death Star will be within range in 5 minutes.
But it's not noticeable at all. It feels like it's part of the movie, and it adds.
Yeah, they did an amazing job editing. That's for sure. You can see now why they got an award for it.
Well, yeah. You made something good out of something not good, so you get the Oscar for editing. But no, I think the editing is just well done, just purely from a film standpoint. Did they re-add this in?
They add in part of it. I don't think it's
deleted scene.
Okay, so this is a deleted scene of what? Luke meeting up with Biggs in the Yavin.
They had someone walk in front of the camera to hide the cut.
Oh, they did.
What did he say about Luke's father?
So in the deleted scenes here, he says,
I met your father once when I was just a boy. He was a great pilot. You've got half the skill he had, you'll do all right.
Like that guy did not meet his father.
It's like, hey, Darth Vader.
That just makes me question how much of this was planned out.
Obviously, not that much for the first movie, anyways.
Because when Obi-Wan's talking about Luke's father, I'm assuming he's talking about Darth Vader, but when he was acting it, was he actually just talking about some guy that he used to know?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if Lucas had decided at that point.
It feels like watching it, knowing the whole story, it works just fine, but...
If you haven't seen these movies...
What are you... Go away and watch
Darth
it,
Vader's
and then
Luke's
come back
father.
and listen to us.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Hey, can we talk about the trash compactor scene?
Of course. It's one of the most pivotal moments of the
We're
whole...
about to get a lot skinnier.
This whole sequence, I feel like, is so different in pacing and, like, the tone. For me, it's always felt like suddenly the whole tone of the movie just shifts. And it's kind of almost creepy. Like there's this alien worm in there. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing out. Like it's just such a very distinctly unique to the rest of the movie.
And it's claustrophobic.
Yeah. Oh
You're
yeah.
stuck in this box.
It gives me a weird feeling. It always has.
I don't know if I ever quite got that feeling, but I guess
I never really thought about it. I mean, I like it because it is like there's just so many weird, different things in Star Wars.
Oh, it adds variety to the movie for sure.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden they're in this compactor with this weird monster.
There's so much they'd never explain too. Like, what is this thing? And then it disappears. It's like, well, there's no answer. It's just another thing that lives in this world. Just like anywhere you go, you might run into something.
Makes you feel like the world's just full of these.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's a crazy world.
But they're not just like throwing them in there to sell more toys.
I don't know. Do you think there's a Dianoga toy?
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that would be creepy if it was.
It's one of those things that never gets called by a name in the movie.
That's like the second
Dianoga toy.
Oh my goodness, that's what it looks like? That's disgusting.
Well, you only see
oh my gosh, it's an actual toy.
It's like a dinosaur.
That looks like somebody just 3D printed.
No,
it
no
says
way.
It's
This looks like
That's a real vintage
Yeah, man.
1977.
This is like an old plastic figure.
What?
Yeah.
But then its eyes like bug out and stick out of the water.
This is its eye.
They recalled it because it was choking.
Oh yeah.
It looks like a
It
dragon.
just has a big eye here, and it just swims around. Well, I thought it's like really long. It wraps around him.
Yeah,
Oh,
where's that
it's
giant?
one big
Is that just
eye.
like its arm?
Maybe, or one of its legs.
I don't know.
Maybe
I'm not-
this is a
not
juvenile.
Everything was believable up until that.
Yeah.
I
I'm
always
out,
thought it was
sorry.
just like basically an eel with a big eye on the front. Okay, was this one of the first movies to really be a big merchandise toy event?
I don't know.
What I remember reading, I don't know if this is true, was that George Lucas had the option of like different ways of getting paid by the studio, and one of the things that he like said he would take less of the actual like ticket sales, but he would get a huge amount of merchandise.
That would
Sales.
explain the Ewoks.
That would explain the Ewoks and Jar Jar thing. Actually, nothing explains Jar Jar. Never mind.
Orgs.
Okay, so apparently
Definitely.
the creature in the trash compactor is force sensitive, according to Wikipedia.
It's got a name.
It has the name Omi.
Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's why it only attacks Luke.
You can over-explain stuff.
Oh my goodness. Can you get one of these for Legion, Cody?
Actually, they're. Oh no, not for Legion. No.
No.
I was gonna say there's stats for fighting them though in the Star Wars RPG.
Oh, okay.
I love how it's got its death date of when the Death Star was destroyed.
Sure.
Oh.
Um,
For that specific one?
I'm sure
Yeah,
it was
for
able to
Omi.
sneak on board the Falcon, though, at some point, and it's still out there. It's the way Star Wars characters live
Like
forever.
the zebra muscles.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to check your ships for any of these.
Dianogas.
10-meter long creatures hiding in the cupboard.
Yeah, like Minox. This is a very good bonding scene for all of them. Because then, like, right after it, they're all, like, best buds, you know?
Right, because they all almost died together.
Right.
They got a lot closer. I said this in the trailer that we did, but I think I really like the idea of not going with Disney only stuff, but like
No, go to the opposite extreme.
yeah, everything is real. All of this happened.
Everything is canon.
All the Ewok cartoons,
Especially the holiday special.
They can't be erased.
no.
Oh my goodness, the Ewok
From our
cartoons! I forgot about those.
Right.
I actually watched all
4
those when I
hour
was younger.
nightmares.
Did you really?
Yeah, we got them from Family Video.
Oh, nice.
That's great. I didn't even know they were a thing until I think when I was in college.
Yeah, when was the holiday special?
That's like the next thing we're gonna do, you guys.
It's like 2 hours long. Oh no.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh no. Well, is there anything else that we need to talk about, I guess?
We jumped around a lot.
Well, we could talk about their escape, because the fact that, like, they were actually supposed to escape, because they had the tracker aboard their ship the entire time.
Yeah.
So that's when they're like, the stormtroopers never shot them. I think that's probably because they were under orders not to.
Yeah, but they're also
Yeah, that's kind of a weird thing. I feel like they wanted to kill him. No, yeah, you're right. They definitely didn't want to kill him. That's really weird.
Purposely missed. They're actually really good.
They actually never
but
missed.
they're bad shots in the other one.
Right. Again, Force is helping them or something.
Sure.
That's a good explanation. I'll buy that.
And ObiWan is I don't know, he's not a Force ghost.
Obi-Wan-
He's just
Well, I was just commenting about their epic duel,
epic duels.
or not so epic.
The old
duel.
Oh, right, their fight.
Obi-Wan fight.
I guess I like the idea of the kind of the talking, and it's not supposed to be really fancy, but I mean, I think it could have been a little better.
Yes. It's
Like it's pretty pathetic.
Well, I mean,
It's a
Alec
awful
Guinness
man.
is not exactly a young, spry person.
No, and I get that, but like Darth, I guess it wasn't much of a fight. That wasn't really supposed to be.
I think that's
Alright.
one of those things that you kind of explain away in different ways too. Like,
They're both old.
no, I was thinking more,
But Vader should still be
he's like
good. That's the thing.
they're not
half
really
robot.
trying to beat each other in a sword fight. They're really, like, using the Force with each other.
Right.
Like, I don't know. Doesn't Count Dooku say something along those lines?
It is obvious that our skills cannot be decided by a lightsaber alone.
Right. Like, this is just kind of their, almost
by
like
the-
a ceremonial.
Or no, it was the opposite.
It was the opposite, but I don't know what he
Said
said.
our skills cannot be decided by powers of the Force alone, but rather our skills with
But
the
by our
lightsaber.
skills with the lightsaber. Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway. But it's also just old. It's the first
Yeah, I mean,
fight you see,
it's
I guess. It's okay.
Did you have to wait until Obi-Wan lets his guard down to kill him? It's like, I feel like he should have had the advantage.
You think Darth Vader would say this is too easy?
You think he would say over
Yeah.
easy?
All too easy.
Oh, true.
How do you like your Obi-Wans? Over easy.
I mean, I do.
And I like my Luke's over easy as well.
Sure.
Also, why does the lightsaber turn off when he dies?
Good question. Isn't there a robot chicken thing where he drops a
Oh,
lightsaber and just
Yeah.
keeps
Yeah.
cutting through floors and falling down?
Here, hold this.
Whoops.
There's a lot of stuff I just think of those.
I know, there's a lot of things that I always just think of the robot chicken version.
This deal's getting worse all the time.
Yeah, and they have a big space fight at the end. I don't know.
Right.
What have we not talked about yet?
They destroy 4 TIE fighters.
And nobody gets mad at them for leading them to their
When
doom.
they get there, yeah.
They fly back like you guys didn't look for some kind of tracking
Right?
device.
Yeah,
Like, are
she
you
even says
kidding
that.
me?
They're tracking us somehow.
Leia says that.
I think so.
That's great.
Han's like, not this ship, they're not.
I feel like if Leia and Luke were supposed to have some kind of chemistry in this, like if they weren't siblings yet, because they leave it open-ended, you don't know.
Sure.
But she and Han seem to have a lot more of a connection, just with all their fighting.
Right?
And Luke, he says, I care.
Well, Luke just says whatever because
Right.
he thinks she's
He's
beautiful.
just
Right.
such a
See,
stupid kid.
She looks like an angel.
He's a suck up.
Yeah,
He's a suck
are you
up,
an angel?
and Han's just
It's
Han's
just these
the
kids
opposite.
from Tatooine have no social skills.
Right, he grew up on a farm.
Pretty much.
He grew up on a
Yeah, and Han is teasing him. What do you think? Princess and a guy.
Ah.
Han's been slicing the ship since he was 10.
Right, Han's smooth operator.
Yeah, Han Solo.
He's flying
yes.
solo.
That's why he got that name. Ugh.
What?
Flying
That's what it is.
solo.
It's because he
Han
flies so
Solo.
low that he's hidden trees.
Just waiting for that guy with the speed gun to pull him over, seeing him land.
You're flying so low.
Here he's like, yeah, we gotta.
You put on an APB on a Corellian frame.
YT 1300 model.
Sounds about right.
The Yavin Patrol.
I'd watch the show.
Yeah, what does he do all day?
I don't know. What's he even doing? Is he's scanning them?
He just
somehow.
stands in that tower.
Who was that? Who's the older guy who's talking to her?
Oh, and by the way, we just led the
Here it
Empire
just says,
right to us. So
it says, it's our only hope. There's that information in our RT unit. Everything's our only hope. Okay, Leia.
don't sound so stressed out.
Did you
Leia.
say who that guy was?
No, the guy that she greets when they first
Yeah.
get to Yavin. I don't know who that's supposed to be. They seem like they go way back. Because he says something like, when we heard what happened to Alderaan, is it General Dodonna?
I don't know. I feel like...
No, but General Dodonna is in.
Or is he the guy with the big beard?
Yeah. There you go. I love this. On Reddit. Who's the guy that hugs Leia when she arrives on Yavin 4 and says, when we heard about Alderaan, we feared the worst?
They're always asking the right question.
Everyone's asked everything.
And
Vanden Willard. That's it.
no idea who that is. I don't have anything else to
Then
say.
I guess we have the crazy dog fight, and Luke saves the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the
Trench run and all that good stuff.
they're kind of setting it up for a sequel. The main bad guy
Spins away.
spins off into space just before the Death Star.
Right.
Where's he going?
Nobody knows. All right. Thanks for listening. That was episode 4, or Star Wars as it was originally called.
Next time, a holiday special.
That's right. The next released Star Wars
highly
film.
anticipated.
The sequel everybody was waiting for.
That will be a bit of a chore to get through that one, but we'll have to do it.
That's one of those that we'll watch so you don't have to.
Right.
All right. Holiday special.
All right.